What's up, guys? It is Clancy. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. And you know what? I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. I just received my first ever noise complaint. This is not who I am, guys. Let me tell you, like, I'm a kind human. I am quiet, I am nice, and suddenly things are changing. I don't even know how I feel about this situation. As you guys know, I've had a lot of apartment struggles within the past couple of months where suddenly Zach and I had to leave our last place within days because of a really bad leak in our roof. And now we're in the new place. We're finally loving it here. We're finally free. And then this happened. And you know what, Zach?
Yeah.
You want to share the story?
Are you YouTubing too loud so people called and complained on you?
Yeah, people are like, this girl will not stop yelling into a camera. No, guys, that's not the case. I wish it was. We have decided to sit for the story because it's more comfortable. But over the past week or two, maybe even month, we've been hearing this crazy noise. It's as if someone is below us just banging on the ceiling.
Yeah, and it's like, we were laughing about it yesterday because it makes no sense. The whole ground will shake unless someone's just absolutely going berserk on their wall. I don't even know how we would hit.
How you would reach it. And this happened like 5 times yesterday, and it is so scary every time, guys. The entire apartment shakes. I've been expecting a man just to come through our floor.
Well, yeah, it sounds like that's what he's trying to do. He's like, he's working his way through it. Pablo Escobar building holes through like prisons or something. It just makes no sense. You're just hanging out, chit-chatting in the kitchen,
like we
and then
always
just
do.
the ground, like, it's like, what is happening? And then it happened once or twice this morning. Twice.
At that point, we had it. Let me tell you, we had it. We were just up to here with it. Is that like a saying? Yeah. I decided, you know what? This is so bad. I'm gonna give them a taste of their own medicine. Can't even reenact it because clearly it's not good, but I just banged my feet twice on those floors. Zach.
And then I just yelled, I don't even know if I said an expletive. I just yelled, stop it or something. I was like, I might have said effing stop it or just stop it. And so we did do that.
We did it, we'll admit it. Within like 15 minutes, Zach gets a call on his phone.
I mean, I knew what the call was going to be about. So called her back. I kind of let her get through 80% of her spiel. And I was just like, hey, like, I know what this noise complaint is, and it's certainly not us. Like, we've been like...
No, Zach was like, I'm just gonna make up a random number because I don't want you guys to know where we live, but Zach was like, was this room number 183 calling about this? Yeah. And she's like, I cannot disclose that.
Well, yeah, no, so I said it couldn't possibly.
Which is the thing right
Yeah, I couldn't, I was like, it can't possibly be, again, room 183, because I'm like, they've been making this unbelievable amount of noise. That is what would have to be the noise complaint if it's from anybody else other than that specific apartment. And if it is that specific apartment, they're the ones making all the noise. So just because Clancy banged her heel twice and I yelled, stop it, because they're making an outrageous amount of noise.
That's so crazy that we've been dealing with this ruckus. Like, not just what I did. It's so much louder, guys, for weeks. We haven't complained once. Like, we were just like, oh, we just live with it. We're obviously annoyed, but like, we just live with it. We do this one time and someone immediately is like, gotta call. Like, it was just 2 heel clicks. I feel weird about my state of the world. I feel like a bad human. I know I shouldn't have done it, guys. I'm coming clean on here. We're really making a lot of friends in our new building. And that was just the perfect ending to a very long morning. Because you guys know, I have been on just non-stop snow coverage. It has just been so much this year. And you know what? Finally, it's not snowing. But you know what it is? It's flooding. So I was on just non-stop flooding coverage all morning.
Clancy Burke is live at Yateman's Cove now with a look at the high water there. And Clancy, are you seeing spots where you've seen it continue to come up over the last like 30 minutes or so?
Yeah, Bob, actually a perfect example of that is if I walk this way, you can see that the water is not sitting still. It almost reminds me of like an ocean. Since then, in just 30 minutes, take a look at all of the water that is now pushing back. I mean, it's actually, we're gonna have to move our car. It is unrecognizable this morning. If you take a look right here, this is normally a parking lot.
So, I actually sat down to film this part of the vlog yesterday. I really wanted to sit down and record this, but I don't know, I feel like everything was just too raw and too fresh, and I wanted to have my thoughts, really just marinate in them, and then talk to you guys. Because we got some pretty big news, and by big news, I mean horrible news at work, which I'm sure actually a lot of you have heard about. Some of you even messaged me on Instagram about this, and it is that where I work, my job, my company had a lot of layoffs. like a lot. For those of you who don't know, I work for Local 12 in Cincinnati, but the thing about any local news station across the country, including where you live, whether it's Charlotte, North Carolina, Bristol, Connecticut, Los Angeles, California, absolutely anywhere, is that it is owned by a company. Every single news station is owned by a company. For me, we are owned by Sinclair. I know a lot of people find this very confusing because you're like, no, what? I tune into Local 12, that's on CBS, but we here in Cincinnati, Local 12, we are owned by Sinclair. And Sinclair owns, I think, over 200 stations.
Okay, sorry, I was wrong. It is just under 200 stations, but this is a map of everywhere Sinclair is. You can see they've got stations in the Northwest, they've got some in Florida, obviously in this area where I am in Cincinnati, so it is just under 200 stations across the country.
Which is a lot. Very big company. And by the way, included in those markets, included in those cities, they own CBS stations, they own ABC, NBC, Fox, all of it, but I happen to work for CBS. A few days ago, we received an email saying that there were going to be mass layoffs at Sinclair, where they were letting go 5% of the company. And 5% might not sound like a whole lot, but we have thousands of employees, and it's more than 400 people who suddenly lost their job just like that for no reason at all. And I mean, the reason is we have been struggling this year with the pandemic and sales and not making as much money as usual. So people all across the country lost their jobs a couple of days ago. And this affected every single type of job, from photographers to reporters. Anchors even lost their jobs who had those jobs for years. Producers, just so many people lost their jobs. The big one was sports. A lot of sports people lost their jobs as well. And it has nothing to do with who these people are and their job performance and what they do. Not at all. It's people who work in the corporate offices who are just looking at a list. They're looking at the list, their salary, their position, they're seeing where they can make cuts just based on that criteria, not who they are as people, because yes, people at Local 12 lost their jobs as well. I'm not gonna get into the specifics of that just because it's a little too personal for me, but it's incredibly sad, and it's just like, it's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't imagine. I've never been part of a layoff before. Like, I've never been the victim. And like I said, this has nothing to do with, oh, Clancy's great. No, it just has to do with they need reporters at Local 12. No reporters lost their jobs. But this actually is not the first time that I have dealt with or seen something like this, because I've never talked about this on YouTube. Once again, it just felt personal, and I tell you guys personal things, but it felt personal, not about me. It felt like I was airing someone else's dirty laundry or their business. But I feel like now it's past the statute of limitations, I can talk about it. In Dayton, we had mass layoffs as well, and they were actually happening right before my eyes. And I am known for being very clueless in these situations. Like, I don't realize it's happening, but happened one day in our newsroom where they were pulling people who they were firing into the news director's office, letting them know, and then they would just leave. But I wasn't realizing any of this was happening right before my eyes. I mean, I sat right next to that office. It was all happening right before my eyes, and I was joking around and cracking up with someone, and then finally, like, people were catching on, and they were like, hey, like, do you know what's happening right now? And I'm like, clearly not, because I'm smiling and laughing. That was really, really sad and scary. Just people losing their jobs, people who I had worked with every single day, the nicest people ever, people who had families, people who have children to support. Like, man, it was just, I remember that was the first time I thought, like, wow, the news business is just ruthless. And it is. One thing I've heard over and over again over the last couple of days, it's that you can love your job, but your job will never love you. And that has never been more true. You can work your heart out for your job. You work, 60 hours a week, even if you're only getting paid 40, and you work so hard, and just like that, you can be fired. And you can be fired for no reason at all, other than unfortunate circumstances, other than a pandemic hit, other than we're just not making as much money as a company in general, and it's not your fault. And I know a lot of reporters follow me on my YouTube channel, a lot of fellow TV news people, and if any of you have been impacted by this layoff, let me first tell you, you're gonna be okay. And I have seen it firsthand, because as I mentioned, there were people who were laid off in Dayton, and there are two of them that I'm thinking of at the top of my mind who are doing so much better now. I don't want to get into the specifics of exactly what they're doing, but I will tell you, they landed on their feet, and it was probably just the worst news ever in the moment, but they're doing so much better. One of them is still in the business in another place, another one out of the business, but seems so much happier. And yeah, so it just sucks. And I think it's just like, it just feels so weird to be one of the survivors, kind of like survivor's guilt, because as I said, and I will say this 1,000,001 times till I'm blue in the face, there is no reason I still have a job other than luck. That is all it is. And I can confirm that is the case because some of the most talented people in the world lost their jobs a couple of days ago. And I get that these things happen. These things happen at every single company. I mean, even just growing up, my mom working in, not the news industry, but the production industry, working at Madison Square Garden, I remember every so often she'd come home and say there have been mass layoffs. Like, it happens at every company. This isn't something that's unique. In this business in particular, the production business, it is pretty ruthless, but I remember my mom telling me she actually had to fire someone. Obviously, it wasn't my mom's choice. She was told she had to do the firing, and she went to the person's office. It was that person's birthday. And they thought my mom was there to wish them a happy birthday. I can't even imagine. All right, now that I'm done with that extremely depressing talk, which for the record, I think it's important to talk about those things. And I never, ever, ever, ever want to shy away from those topics on this channel because even though a lot of the times I'm positive and happy and bubbly, I'm not like that all the time. And I think it's important to have these conversations. But tonight I am going to be going out. So I'm just doing the finishing touches of going out. This stuff, best perfume ever, Daisy Love by Marc Jacobs, which is better than the original. I'm obsessed. And Zach and I are actually going on a double date tonight, which in normal times isn't really that crazy, but obviously things are different now and we've just not been going out at all. Like, it is a true rarity nowadays, as it should be, but fortunately here where I live in Cincinnati, case numbers have been going down and I am so happy and relieved about it, and so many people are getting vaccinated and it's just amazing to see. But if there's one thing we could have learned with the whole summertime heading into fall boom where, you know, case numbers skyrocketed, is that you can't let your guard down. Like, this is not the time to stop wearing face masks and partying. Like, no, we're just going out to dinner tonight. There are capacity limits and I believe we still have a curfew. Guys, to be honest, like, the reason I don't even know if we have a curfew, let me just keep applying. I love to smell nice. But yeah, I don't even know if we have a curfew because I just don't go out, period. So why would it matter if we had a curfew? Zach getting ready for our big night out on the town.
Hello, dear. And YouTube, I guess.
Uber's like 6 minutes away. Do you forget what this is like? To be like, Uber's 6 minutes away.
For real. T-shirt time.
There's a party downtown, someone said that you're coming by. Let me know when you're here, meet me up for a smoke outside. I regret what I said, didn't mean it. Yeah, believe me, I guess I'll take it back. There's a party downtown.
Well, guys, now I know why I don't drink anymore. It's just never going to end well. And by the way, I had 3 drinks last night. That's it. 3 mixed drinks in the span of so many hours. And I'm really just not feeling too hot this morning. I have a really weird disorder where if I drink, I cannot sleep that night. I will sleep 5 hours usually, around 4 or 5 hours. So I went to bed after midnight, was up at 5:45. And that's just not cool, especially because my weekends are just my time to catch up on sleep. But that did not happen. And yeah, I'm really feeling it this morning. I've got the liquids going. If anyone needs a cure for a hangover, this is the cure. You got a big cup of water, which this is the infamous cracked glass that Zach has referred to. It has a huge crack in it. It leaks all the time, but it's my favorite cup and I refuse to use any other. So that's what we deal with. And then I've got some tea. I'm not really that big of a caffeine person, but this green tea helps my tummy a little bit. All right, Zach has arisen from the dead. He was awake before and then went right back to sleep. How you feeling?
Great. How about you?
You're not feeling great.
I've never been better.
You're not feeling great. You're actually worse than I am. You had like double the drinks that I did.
Nope. Feel good. Gonna get a protein shake in, probably go for a long run today.
Our little Zachary. Nice coffee, water. And you said you weren't feeling bad at all. That's the key here.
No, this is just a normal Sunday.
You just always do this?
You know, a little R&R.
All right, off to the gym. I'm probably gonna puke and die, and we'll see how this goes.
Keep thinking that I could have done something, but now I'm left with an empty heart. No making amends, no waking up beside you and holding you till we forget it all. How could I know there was no second chances? Like dominoes, my life got really scattered.
YouTube? Here we are at 1:20 on Sunday. Got a nice egg sandwich here on some 11 grain bread. We've got it's like a amino acid energy type mix drink here. It's not like a pre-workout or anything. It's just got the same amount of caffeine as a coffee. And on TV, we've got The Departed. First rounds of food and coffee and hydration for the hangover cure on Sunday. Can't imagine I'm the only one a little bit hungover today. Clancy and I don't really drink too often anymore with quarantine and COVID and just trying to be healthy. But we decided to go out last night, meet up with one of my good friends, Andrew, and the new girl he is seeing. So we went and got some dinner and drinks, which was a good time. Cincinnati is doing a pretty good job COVID-wise, just with you can only order drinks. You have to be seated, you have to wear masks everywhere besides obviously when you're sitting and eating. Overall, it was fun. Clancy has requested that I do my top 3 hangover tips. Pretty standard stuff. Not gonna come at you with anything too crazy. Usually when I get up, it's the simple water, coffee, protein shake first thing in the morning. I do that every morning. That just helps kind of just get my hydration. My hangovers affect my head probably the most, so get some water, get some hydration, get all that stuff going. So that's definitely my step 1 when I get up. Step 2 might be an Advil or some Tylenol. That's like 50-50 for me, whether I do that or not. I mean, I think it depends on how severe the headache's gonna be. So we'll do that 1.5. So that's first thing. Then definitely it's nice long hot shower. Again, you can even bring a water glass, sit it next to the shower so you can be drinking some water, getting hydrated while you're just getting nice hot steam, clean off, feels good. You jump out of the shower, you relax a little bit, and then eventually, hopefully, I can shake the headache at some point today, and then hopefully get a workout in. Sweat it out, get it all out of the system, and hopefully by dinner time tonight, feel much better. Those are my hot hangover tips, hangover cures to shake it. I think the workout's always the worst part of the day, depending on how bad you're feeling, but that just really solidifies helping you again. Once you take that second shower, once you get dinner and all that, or at least I'm usually feeling much better at that point. But I definitely don't think I'm gonna go crazy in the gym today. I think sometimes doing more cardio can help you sweat more, but yeah, that's gonna be a 50-50 call. So hopefully you have a good rest of your Saturday. I think I'm supposed to be closing out the blog here, the vlog. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.